This year's Adobe Max conference announced the usual feature updates to Adobe products. Among these, we see some very interesting features that came to Adobe XD in the October 2018 update. Hi, I'm Adi Pordila, and in this Envato Tuts Plus tutorial, we're going to have a look at 4 of the biggest updates that came to Adobe XD. First, we'll talk about add-ons. These allow you to use third-party plugins and services. Then we'll cover linked symbols, a feature that allows you to link and share symbols across documents. In part 3, we'll cover auto-animate, which is a prototyping feature designed to create more immersive animated transitions. And finally, we'll play around with voice prototyping, which allows you to add voice triggers and speech playback to your prototypes. We have a lot of ground to cover, so let's kick things off with add-ons. A highly requested feature, and one that's definitely been missing from Adobe XD, is the ability to use third-party plugins and integrations. Well, now that's possible thanks to the new add-ons implemented in Adobe XD. So let's check it out. When you first open Adobe XD, you'll find a redesigned welcome screen. You still have the same options for creating new documents, but you now have access to your most recent documents here, as well as a new tab called Add-ons. So when you click this, you get access to 3 things basically: plugins, UI kits, and app integrations. We have access to the editor's choice, where we get recommendations of add-ons, and we can simply click on one of these. It's going to open up a new window, in the case of plugins, of course, where we find more information about that particular add-on and an option to install it. Now, we can browse these add-ons by using these 3 links here at the top. So here are plugins, which opens up the window I showed you previously. UI kits will basically open a link in your default browser, and it's a link back to the Adobe website, where you'll find a bunch of UI kits created by third-party developers. Like, for example, you'll find a UI kit for Apple design, one for material design, Microsoft even, and also a lot of kits from contributors around the world, which is fantastic. When it comes to app integrations, it does the same thing. It opens up the Adobe website under resources, and you'll find a lot of integrations here from third-party developers, like, for example, Slack, Avocode, Zeppelin, and there are a few more. Of course, on this page, you will also find the plugins here and the UI kits by using these tabs. Also, you have some pretty cool icon sets that you can download for free. Now, let's quickly install a plugin and see how we can use that. Let's go to plugins. As you can see, currently I have no plugins installed, and I'm going to search for a plugin called Rename It. It's by Rodrigo Suarez. So let's go ahead and install this. This is a pretty cool plugin which allows you to batch rename layers and artboards. So now that it's installed, let's go ahead and create a new document. So this allows you to do the following. Let's say we have a document with a bunch of shapes here, a bunch of groups, a bunch of elements, and you want to rename these to something a bit more meaningful. Well, you can easily do that by selecting all of these and going to Plugins, Rename It, Rename Selected Layers. Now in here you have a bunch of options. You can specify a piece of text that will be added to all of your selected items, for example, shape, and you can see a preview here of the new names. And you can also use some keywords like the layer name, the layer width, height. You can name these in sequence. So for example, if I add this, it's going to be shape 5, 4, 3, or you can do it the other way around. So you'll have shape 1, 2, 3, and so on. So once you're done with the changes, once you're happy, you can simply hit rename, and it's going to rename them automatically. How cool is that? And of course, there are tons and tons of plugins you can install. If you want to access them again without the welcome screen, just go to plugins, discover plugins, and you'll see a full list of plugins here. There are quite a few of them, and I'm sure a lot more are on the way. So by using this, you'll get that extra layer of customizability to your XD project. If you're constantly using the same symbols in your XD documents, then you're going to love this next feature. It's called linked symbols, and it basically allows people to share symbols between documents and also receive notifications for when changes are made to the master document or the master copy of that symbol, allowing you to keep symbols in check. So here's how this works. I have a source document here with a couple of buttons, and I have a couple of colors defined in my assets, as well as a bunch of symbols. So basically, every one of these buttons that you see here has its own symbol. Now, let's say that I'm working off of this master document, and I want to use these symbols, right? Well, watch what happens when I copy a button or a symbol from my master document into a new document. This gets pasted in, and there are a couple of things going on. First of all, I get this link symbol on the top left side of my instance here. I also receive a new symbol in my assets panel with the same name as in my master, but I have an icon here, and it says up to date, and it also tells me the name of my source document. Now, let's say, for example, that I don't want this color on my symbol. I want something different, okay? So let's go ahead and change that. Well, this is the color that I'm using, so I'm gonna edit, and let's say I want something more towards maybe orange. Let's do that, okay? So I'm gonna save, and now when I go back here, the green badge that was showing up here is now blue. Same goes for this. It tells me there's an update. It tells me when the update was made and also the name of my source document. And another cool thing is that when I hover on my symbol, I get a preview of the change, right? So you'll see it right here. There we go. So that's the old one that I have in my current document. And when I hover on this link badge, I get a preview of the new one, which is really, really cool. So I can click on this and it's going to update automatically. And now my badges turn to green again. Let's copy a few more symbols, right? Let's copy all of these. Right? Same thing. They're all up to date. I have the symbols added to my assets panel. And let's also do some changes here. Let's change this. And let's also change this and hit save. So now I have two changes. You can see them here and here. And again, I can click on each one to make the changes, or I can click this Update All button, which will take those changes and apply them to my local instances for those particular symbols. Now, if I want to make one of these symbols local, so it's not linked to my source document anymore, well, I can simply go right here. I can right-click on this symbol, and I can select Make Local Symbol, okay? So in this case, I made this primary button. You can see the badge with the link is now gone. And if I make any changes now to my link or to my default style here and save, going back here will not prompt me to update that symbol because it is now a local symbol. It is not linked anymore. So that is a very, very cool feature. I think the coolest new feature in XD is auto-animate. It's for prototyping, and it really allows you to achieve a great or a high level of fidelity when creating these prototypes by using immersive animations. So let me quickly show you how it works. I have a very simple document here. And by the way, if you want to learn where I got this design from, it's actually part of a UI kit. You'll find a link down below in the written version of the tutorial. So what the auto-animate feature allows you to do is basically create some very cool transitions between screens when prototyping. So in our case, let's go to the prototype tab, and I have two buttons here, a sign up and a login. And what I want to do is when I click the sign up, it's going to take me to the sign up screen. And when I click login, it's going to take me to the login screen. Now, normally to do this, you would drag a handle from here to here. By default, it's set to transition. And let's also link this button to this screen. Okay, also a transition. So now when I preview, it goes something like this. Sign up takes me to the sign up screen, and when I click login, takes me to the login screen. With auto animate, you can create an animated transition between artboards where XD will animate the same named objects if their properties change. So for example, here this logo is called Sky Vector. Here it's called a vector logo. So I need to change the names of any one of these. Let's try this. This is called Sky Vector. Let's also rename this to Sky Vector. And I'll do the same here. So now what happens is the following. Going back to prototype, I'm going to select this transition, and instead of the action being a simple transition, I'm going to select auto animate. You can still select your destination, an easing, and a duration. For easing, let's go ahead and actually choose one of the new easings, snap. And I'm going to leave the duration at, well, let's say 0.5 seconds. Okay? So now let's see what's going on. Sign up. Yeah? Notice it's not simply a fade in between two screens or two artboards. The actual elements are being animated. And to illustrate that even further, let me increase the duration here to about 3 seconds. Okay? And I'm going to do the same for the login. I'm going to choose auto animate and duration 3 seconds. Let's choose snap as an easing. Okay, let's do a preview. So now watch closely what happens with auto animate. I hit sign up. Yeah, and you see the elements that have the same name and that have changed properties between two slides will now be animated individually, which is just fantastic. And the login also works. So that's what you can do with auto animate. You can even, make an image bigger, right? So for example, here, this image is called background main, and it's also background main here. And I can make this bigger. Yeah, like create a zoom in effect. And let's see the sign up button. This is a repeat grid, so let's go ahead and ungroup this. So we have a sign up button and a login button. So let's rename these as well. And I'm going to rename these as well here in my target slide. So sign up button and login button. I think it was with a capital B. Okay, so now when I choose to open the sign up, yeah, three things happen there. So the logo and the tagline moved up, the sign up button moved down. Let me show you that again. Yeah, and the image got bigger and it also got animated. So those are just small things, simple things that you can do with auto-animate. You can use this for example, transforming artwork, like from one screen to a bigger screen. It's really up to you how you use this, but auto-animate, really powerful feature for prototyping. Another new prototyping feature in this release is voice prototyping, which allows you to use voice commands and also speech playback. And these are starting to become more and more popular thanks to artificial intelligence and virtual assistants. So being able to use them in prototyping is a big plus. Let's see how it works. So right here I have some artboards that I want to use to play around with voice prototyping. And what I want to do is to be able to speak a certain sentence, and then that's going to take me to this places card artboard where I'm going to get a speech playback. It's going to speak some text to me. And then I want to speak book a ticket, and then that's going to take me to the payment artboard where it's going to give me a voice playback again. And by doing this, we'll get a really interesting workflow using voice prototyping. The artboards that you see here, I got from a UI kit for Adobe XD. You can find a link down below. Let's go ahead and start. So we'll go to the prototype tab. We'll select this element here. We'll drag a transition from here to the places card. The trigger is going to be voice. And the command will just say, show me Lady Liberty. Okay, and then I'm gonna transition to the places card. So let's see how that works. I need to hold space bar in order for this to work, and also XD needs access to my microphone. So here we go. Show me Lady Liberty. And that's gonna take me to the places card. Now when I'm here, I want XD to give me a speech playback to tell me something along the lines of, this is Lady Liberty, a monument, and so on, a short description. So to do that, I can go in here, I can click this button, and I can say trigger, time. I don't want a delay, but I can do one if I want to. Transition, I'm going to say speech playback, and for the speech, I'm going to say the following. Okay, so now show me Lady Liberty.
This is Lady Liberty, a monument situated in downtown New York.
That is pretty awesome. Now when I'm here, I can also do a voice command, like for example, book a ticket, right? That's going to take me to the payment page. So when I'm here, I can add a new transition. Trigger is going to be voice. We're going to say book a ticket, and we're going to transition to places card with payment. Okay, so let's do the whole experiment. Show me Lady Liberty.
This is Lady Liberty, a monument situated in downtown New York.
Book a ticket. Cool. And when I'm here, I can also do another speech playback, like maybe an instruction. So I'm going to click this, trigger, time, speech playback, and for this, I'm going to tell it to say this text. Let's do the whole thing again, top to bottom. Show me Lady Liberty.
This is Lady Liberty, a monument situated in downtown New York.
Book a ticket.
To book this ticket for $25.50, use your fingerprint to continue.
And that's it. That's how you can use voice prototyping now inside Adobe XD thanks to this new October 2018 update. There are a lot more features included in this update, so make sure you check out the official blog post that's linked in the written version of the tutorial, and let us know what you think about these new changes. Do you find yourself using these in your projects? Leave a comment down below. I'm Adpurdila. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. Until next time, take care.